Seemed to work.
And with that, we are off. Hello, everyone.
Alright, you should... Everyone should be able to hear me. Can my Discord partner say something and we can confirm that we hear everybody?
Something.
Maybe a little bit more.
Oh yes, we are definitely coming through.
Alright. Okay, I hope everything works out. Just in case we can do some adjustments later. Run is long enough and there's a couple down times.
Hey there, everybody. We're here for the FF6 run with Vultus playing and Almagus on the commentary. Thanks for joining us, at least in the United States, for this early morning run.
It's also still early morning for me.
Just a reminder that there are a lot of character bid wars still available, including some characters with no bids yet, so you can definitely snipe some. We are going to cut off Terra and Locke pretty shortly once the run begins, though.
Alright, I guess without any further ado, I would start. Run is long enough, so we're not gonna wanna delay it any further, I guess. So gonna count down for myself, and 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so we immediately start in Narf. I skipped the intro cutscene. I let it run before the run, before we saw the stream here. So if you let the intro run once and then go into the menu and watch the opening. So you need to watch the opening once and then you can start the game right away. Okay, so this is Final Fantasy VI Glitchless. Okay, good. They escaped, that's fine. So we immediately start here. We don't know much right now. We're just invading a town here on these Magitex. And we have 3 characters at the moment. Only one of them is important. And what I'm gonna try here in the battles is I want to let the 2 soldiers run away, Biggs and Wedge. So you need to kill a couple things off. Otherwise they can't run away. Okay, so the reason why I want to let them run away is experience is shared in this game. So, for example, if I would get a 100 experience for this battle here, and all of them would stay in fight, everybody would get 33 experience per character. However, if they run away, our main character here, which name is coming up soonish, so the name character gets all the XP for herself here in this case, and we only have Biggs and Wedge during this opening here. So there's no reason to give them experience at all. Okay, come on.
Yeah, so the way running away works in this game is pretty unique for like in RPG from the time, because usually like how RPGs worked at the time is if you try to run, the whole party tries to run at the same time. But in this game, you can actually make certain characters run away, and yeah, one of your party members can stay in the battle, which is pretty interesting. So every character has their own little hidden runaway meter that you need to fill up by holding L and R. And once that is matched and their ATB is full, they are eligible to run away, which is the whole reason we use Bioblast as a long attack in these battles, so they have plenty of time to fill that hidden runaway meter. So they'll actually be able to run away at the end of the battle. The reason he had to kill off some of the enemies in the formations with fire beams is pretty much that some enemies in this game have a hidden flag that will prevent you from running away, and those Lobos and Bomamoths that we killed with fire beams, they had that flag enabled. The guards did not, though, so yeah. And we are jumping into our first boss battle here, which is pretty much your standard tutorial boss of any Final Fantasy game you play on. Bulk has two parts, the shell and the head. And if you attack the shell, that's pretty bad because you get a pretty bad counterattack. So your goal in this fight is to just attack the front part whenever you can, and then yeah, pretty much just teaching you, hey, some enemies might have counterattacks and you might not want to trigger that. There is a quick kill for this, and Vultus is...
I tried to do it, yeah, but I think I'm a little too slow.
We'll see. So you need 3 tech missiles in order to get rid of Welk here.
I'm a little too slow.
Yeah.
Let's hope he's not sniping Terra, though.
He probably will.
Yeah. Well, I need to kill him off with big swing. He's not. This bosses in general don't give experience, so it's not bad that Terra misses like it's dead here. It just slows down the fight now a little bit, of course.
Yeah. So one thing you can try to do with counterattacks in this game, enemies just like you do have an ATB bar and it fills up just like yours, but you can't see it. And if enemies have a counterattack and you make them counterattack when their ATB bar is full and they've selected an action, they will do that counterattack, but then they will completely forget that they already queued up an attack. So, and this Welk hiding in the shell it's basically a command, an attack, right, if you will. And by triggering the counter move, you can try to prevent him from doing that and then just immediately kill him. But unfortunately, we had a bit bad ATB at the start of the battle, so we couldn't quite execute that properly. So now we have to sit here a little bit and have Wedge and Vix finish the job.
It's kind of random. Like I'm on a seat manipulation right now, and I'm gonna talk about it later a little bit again when it actually matters. But the fights are still random, so you don't know if you get pincer attacks or back attacks or preemptive attacks. And same goes with the ATB bars. So the boss can start the fight with a full out ATB bar basically, or with a completely depleted ATB bar. Needs to fill up first. And in this case here, the boss started pretty early, so he had probably a nearly full ATB bar.
Okay. Yeah, it's also very unfortunate that Terra got killed there because she has the tag missile, which is just like 5 times stronger than whatever Wedge and Wix can do. So that was kind of unfortunate, but yeah.
Don't know. Her Magitech is different somehow. She has way more moves she can do. Like the other two only have the beams and heal force, which just heals. And Terra has a bunch of different moves available. Okay, talking about Terra though, yeah, she somehow has a connection with these espers, and now is the time for the name for Terra though.
The name for Terra is going to be Jill. Jill.
Right. I have the website open here, but I just need a confirmation if it's still Jill.
Jill and Terra and Locke's names are now closed.
Yeah, Locke name is coming in like 5 minutes about. So. Go. So now we have Jill in not capital letters, which is, I don't know, every name in this game is written in completely capital letters though. Alright, so since we invaded the town with the Magitex, the people think now we are evil and the guards of this town want to catch us. But Jill here now has amnesia, so she doesn't even know anything anymore. What happened. Now we just try to run away, and I'm gonna fight a couple enemies here because I want to have a level up. So right now Jill's level 5, and I want to have her level 6. And thanks to the seed manipulation, which I can explain soonish, I guess. This is like, I know where all the random battles are, and I also know what enemies coming up. But as I said, it's still random if it's a back attack or not, so I couldn't, like, this was a preemptive here, it was pretty nice.
Yeah, so the way it works is essentially you can predict what, like he said, where and when you get encounters, what formations it are, but it's frame-based, whether you have a preemptive or whatever. So you'd have to see the frames in order to manipulate that, which is kind of hard, let me tell you that. It's not easy.
I've got 2 donations here. The first from Yang Gang, who says, I'm challenging us all to raise $1,000 in small donations to name Yang Andrew. Can we do it, Valkyries? And another from Cloudy, who donates $5 and says, my best childhood friend Ian named Gao after me on his cart when we played this growing up, so now it's my turn. Put this towards naming Gao Ian.
Alright, there's level 6. So level 6 is important because Locke's joining our party now, and he's gonna be 1 level higher than Terra or Jill in this case. And Jill's level 6, so Locke's gonna be level 7. And that keeps going through the run basically, so when the next character joins, he's another level higher again, which like Edgar's gonna be level 8 then. So, and if I wouldn't have gotten this level up, everybody would be a level lower, and they would start with 0 XP on this level. So it's pretty easy to get this level up here, and it helps a little bit, of course. Okay, cutscene RNG. Got God RNG though. She attacks the front soldier, so that's the least frames wasted.
It's the run!
It's the run, yeah, just lost like 2 minutes to Welk, but... Okay, coming up we have Locke's name though.
Locke is gonna be Mikey with a capital M. M-I-K-E-Y.
Alrighty. So yeah, we went through the cave, we got caught, but Tara fell in a hole here, and now she's unconscious. And Locke's coming for the rescue, or Mikey. I hope I did not write this wrong now. I'm a little ill still, so excuse me if I sometimes be kinda quiet.
No.
No. I'm glad Magus is here for covering up some things. Okay, coming up we have like this. I don't know how these events called, but like we now need to defend Terra here, and we have a party of 3 people basically, 3 parties here, and what you're gonna do is we need to we not let them allow to get to Terra here. These things. These are mammoths, by the way. So they look like werewolves, but that's actually the mammoth enemy we saw already. And we're not allowed to let them go to Terra, and in the meantime we need to go to the guard down here and fight this off. And as soon as the guard is beaten, the event is over. Okay, so what you're gonna do here is you fight off these dogs here. Come on. And in the meantime, you have Mog here in this battle, and he's the only one you can unequip in this fight. Since Mog is gonna be a real character you have available later, and so you can unequip Mog in this case, and you can just snatch his armor and his weapon and his armor. And now if there's in my inventory, it's kinda neat. I can equip this on other characters later.
Yeah, the Mithril Pike and Mithril Shield are actually a pretty substantial upgrade that you wouldn't be able to purchase for a while if you were to get that normally. So it's kind of nice that they have that on Mog.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna give that to Edgar. And we don't see Mog quite a while now, so it doesn't really matter that he has no equipment at this point.
Yeah, he just gets new stuff anyway if you recruit him again, which is kind of funny.
Alright, and with that we left Narsh finally, and there's gonna be an encounter right here. Okay, now we go to Figaro Castle, and with that also Edgar's name is coming up. Nothing changed, I guess it's still Nikos.
Yeah, Edgar is going to be Nikos, all capitals, and Sabin is going to be Slam, all capitals.
Alright. So yeah, there's a lot of running around in the castle here. Nothing really much happening, so I guess I can talk about the seat manipulation a little bit. After I named Edgar, though. Alright, here he is.
You say you're running, but you're walking.
Yeah, walking around the castle. We're gonna run soon.
We do have one donation here from Bullet Jill, who donates $10 and says, "Shoutouts to my favorite game of all time. Try not to let me die too much, Vultus." This donation goes to naming Realm Leggy after the lovely Leggy Starscream.
Okay, so as I said, I think I can talk about the seat manipulation a little bit. So what you're gonna do before you start a run, you don't have to, but it is convenient and it makes some things possible, like skipping battles on the Lead River, and as well for the Veld later getting encounters manipulated, so you don't run into the Templar fight, the infamous Templar soldier encounter. So what you're gonna do is when there's a document you use, and you're gonna, before you start your run, you just start on the Welt and you run around a little bit and you look when you get an encounter. And well, without going deep into this, you just manipulate your seat by that. So you just run around in the Welt, you identify your seat, which one you have, and then you just need to keep resetting the game over and over, basically, until you're on the correct seat you want to have. Okay, here is Slam. Slam Jam.
Nikos' twin brother who traded the throne for freedom. Slam.
So yeah, with the seat manipulation, as I said, we determine encounter and a couple other things.
Yeah, so for the most part, really, it's so that the early game has a favorable outcome for you, like it's routed out that way, and that's why we use the seat we use, more or less. The way it works is, like you saw, running away was a big part, and is going to be a big part of the run. And in the early game, later on we get an item called the Smoke Bomb, which makes you instantly run away from a battle. But before that, you kind of have to run away manually, and while it's great to get experience to have like a single character stay in battle, it can sometimes be very annoying to just like have a single character not run away if you want to. So the way it works is that, generally speaking, that is not always true, but generally speaking, the less enemies are in a formation, the easier it is to run away from them. So it's kind of routed out in a way where you get most formations here, well, in some cases for good experience, but in the early game, most formations will have very few enemies, and just to make sure that we can get a little bit of an edge running away here. And like Vultus mentioned as well, it's also going to make it so that he can manipulate a certain part of the game in a little bit, the lead river, which is kind of a neat thing that you can do, but it's a bit more involved, but we'll get there when we get there.
Exactly. So we're also nearly done with the castle stuff here. So what happened now? Terra, as I said, Terra invaded with Biggs and Wedge. They invaded Narsh at the start, and Biggs and Wedge were Imperial soldiers, and basically Terra was mind-controlled by the Empire, and well, so now the mind control is gone after she met with the Esper in the cave. And now she has amnesia, so she doesn't remember anything. And the reason why Terra was mind-controlled is, well, story-based in this game, magic doesn't really exist anymore. And Terra is one of the exceptions, though. She can use magic still. There are only a handful of characters in the game that can use magic by themselves. Later in the game you can use magic, but it requires something. It requires the help of the Espers. But characters without Espers that can use magic are really rare. And that's why the Empire wants Terra back now, since well, she's able to use magic by herself without Espers. And that's why, like, one of the generals of the Empire, Kefka, came up to the castle here and like, oh, I hear that Terra is here, or Jill. And yeah, well, here Nikos, Edgar. I'm sorry, I'm gonna mess around with the names quite a lot, I guess. He said Jill is not here, but Kefka didn't believe him, so you set the castle on fire. And well, now it's the Great Escape, basically. So this castle is basically a gigantic machine, and it can dive under the desert. Which puts out the fire as well, conveniently, but we cannot enter the castle again for now. Alright, here we go. And this fight is always a back attack. I mean, it's obvious, but... Alright, we need to kill off these magic tech armors. And we have Edgar now, who has the innate ability called Tools. And he has the auto crossbow for now. You can buy more tools later in the game. And in general, Edgar's really strong in the early game because of his tools. So class-based, this game is based on class. Like Terra is your typical mage, basically. I guess you could title her Black Mage since you can use, in general, mage, I guess, because she has healing spells and damage spells. Locke is your typical thief, and Edgar is a mechanist. And Sabin/Slam is your typical monk.
I want to mention that we still have 8 characters left in the bid wars for this game, and the next two, Cayenne and Gao, do not have any bids yet. So if you want to snipe those names, get on in there.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now, story-based, is well, Edgar's allied with the Returners, and like the Returners are rebels against the Empire, basically. Since the Empire they want to use magic to rule over the world, basically. And the Returners are a group of like freedom characters. So they wanna not let the Empire do whatever they want, basically. And we're gonna go to the headquarters of the Returners now. Okay, in this case we're gonna fight a couple enemies because it's gonna be pretty fast, and like Nikos, Edgar is, as I said, he's really strong in the early game. So his auto crossbow mostly one-shots everything at this part, at least in this cave here. If he doesn't, we have, there we go, we have Mikey here to support him a little bit.
Yeah, so the main goal right now is to pretty much raise the average party level by 1, so Sabin will join at a pretty high level and have some more of his blitzes unlocked than he normally would have if he would just run through.
Exactly. And as I said in the early game, where we leveled Terra to level 6, now we're gonna do basically the same. We want to have Edgar level 10, Locke level 9, and Terra level 8. So Sabin joins at level 11.
And yeah, part of the step routing in this game, by the way, when you see Vultus move over the world map here, there are certain tiles on the world map that actually don't increase your step counter, which is pretty interesting, and they are mostly outlying on these lightened up little areas, so he's trying to cross as many of those as possible to not increase his step counter, which is kind of an interesting thing. It's pretty random that it's that way, but yeah, that's something you need to pay attention to when you run this game, that you hit all those tiles.
And by the way, if you're on the Chocobo, you don't get encounters, that's why you're gonna do this. Alright, yeah, I went to town and you see I'm suddenly running, so now I'm able to run. There was an item I just bought in a shop called Sprint Shoes, and well, basically every character can equip up to 2 trinkets or relics, and what these all the relics have basically unique effects, and the sprint shoes we got, you see, like now we're able to run. Obviously, it takes away one slot for the character, so like they're really good trinkets that help you in battle. Like, we're gonna pick up another one right now, and obviously sprint shoes don't do anything in battle. So here we have the Atlas Armored, which is going to Edgar. Yeah, fantastic. It doesn't matter, like, if I mess up the step route, it's not too bad. Like, it's not that I need to be exact on the step route. So if I do some weird steps sometimes, I'm just... It doesn't matter much, so... It doesn't kill your run right away. That's what I mean with that.
Right away.
Yeah. It's kind of important later a little bit, because when you... Like, in the very late part of the run, you have a level grind coming up, so you can actually beat Kefka in the end. So, and then it's gonna get more important to be on the step route, because you want to have specific enemies where you grind.
Yeah, so for the grinding here, Vultus saw him run away with Locke right there once, because Locke is the one that needs the least experience out of our three characters, so he's pretty much good in one formation to run away from battle, and yeah, Vultus got that out of the way pretty early there, so that's pretty nice, but you know, I think it's routed out so that you can run away from 3 encounters, I want to say, maybe it's 4, I don't quite remember, but yeah.
I actually also don't know. I never really paid attention to that, I have to say.
Okay, fair enough. But generally what you want to do, you have like 3 or 4 encounters that you can run away from, and you kind of want to choose those where you get a preemptive or a favorable situation in.
This is a save point. Oops, I'm gonna use that more to just recover here. Okay, I'm gonna heal a little bit. I picked up a sleeping bag earlier that refills like everything. And I also gonna save here, just in case. It's not necessary right here basically, but I'm still gonna do it. Like, yesterday I did a run and I died to the Phantom Train. So I better be safe than sorry, I would say. I also need to do one more thing here. As you remember maybe, I picked up the Mithril Pike from Mog. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna switch around weapons. You can do that in battle, so I don't need to do this in the menu. So when I get the time here, I'm gonna do it now, I think. So here, Edgar gets the Mithril Pike, and Locke, in the meantime, while Edgar is attacking, gets the Mithril Blade that Edgar had equipped. So Locke has a better weapon now equipped. So we have Edgar with his auto crossbow, and Terra has a magic ability, Fire. And Locke doesn't have anything. He has Steel, but it doesn't do damage. So I'm just gonna check. Okay, I need 2 more levels on. 1 more level on Locke and 1 more on Terra. Also, another thing I did is I put everybody in back row, so they only can take half damage now from normal attacks. And the problem about that is you also do only half damage with attacks. But since the auto crossbow is, well, it is kind of qualified as a ranged weapon, so it doesn't affect the auto crossbow in this case. Okay, so this is the dude we saw on the mountain here, like the shade on the mountain here. So now we're gonna fight this guy. This is Vargas. Okay, he comes with 2 bears. Now I put lock in front row.
Yeah, so the way this battle works is you have to kill the bears before you actually can get to Vargas himself, which it takes you 2 auto crossbows and a fire in order to do that. But yeah, there you go. Once the bears are down, you can pretty much wail on Vargas, and it's kind of a special boss battle because not a lot can really go wrong here. You just have to do a little bit of damage, about 2 rounds of damage, and then it will switch into a cutscene battle, more or less, where the game is going to teach you about blitz inputs and how you do them correctly. I remember the first time I played this game, I sure didn't understand, so that was kind of fun. But
I actually don't know, like, since I not really played this game casually much, I actually don't know how you're gonna learn about the blitz input you do here.
He's telling you after a while, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think I remember that right.
Yeah, I mean, I picked this game up for the first Kefgard Large tournament, so it was like 5-6 years ago now. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it's been a while for sure.
Okay, here we go, blitz, and I know, like, you don't see what I'm doing, but basically you choose the blitz command and you do a certain button input. In this case, for the pummel blitz move, it's left, right, left.
And you can't do anything but that. If you use a different blitz because you're that high level, it won't do anything. And Vargas has like some silly HP, like 30k or whatever it is. So, I mean, you could technically win that way, but you will never be able to, so, yeah.
Yeah, he inflicts you with Doom Fist, so that's basically a condemn move, so you're gonna die after just a while. And the pummel move just immediately ends the fight, basically. Also, you don't get any experience or anything from this boss, but as I said, it's like usually common, you don't get any boss experience in this game.
Yeah, later on it becomes important because you get magic points or from bosses that some characters might live through a fight, but for right now it really doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. Alright, we're done with the mountain here. Here we have more of these world map tiles where you can get encounter and where you do not get the step count increased. But at this point it doesn't really matter much anymore because we're getting close to the Returner's hideout. And there we're gonna have a reset. So I'm resetting the game.
Yep. And fortunately, that will reinitialize the seed, right? So he's gonna get a different one, just like if you would manipulate it when you cycle through with resets. It does the same thing here, and it will basically set the step counter to 0 on a different seed, so he's free to do whatever he wants from there, and it will still work out.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't softlock.
It shouldn't happen with the seed manipulated.
There's a very infamous softlock here, where, so depending on what seat you are on and how much time you spend in towns, NPCs, which are technically the enemy, I guess, will be in certain positions and walk certain ways. So, there is a pretty infamous softlock here that if you are on a very specific value, in the NPC movement value and enter, there is a case where 2 NPCs, the NPC that guides you and another one, can block each other. And they will not, like, pass or anything like that. They will literally be in a stalemate situation, and I will softlock a game. It's very rare to happen, and since we are starting on the seat we are starting on, as long as our movement in towns is pretty okay, and we mash here, in the when we get the dialogue options, that should never be popping up as a thing that should happen. But I mean,
I had it happen already. Not on the seat though, but in general I had before I did the manipulation.
Yeah.
That had happened to me already.
Yeah, me too. It's not cool.
Okay, we need to talk to everybody here. We also met up with the Returners leader, that was Bannon. And basically what's happening here now is, since Terra is special with her magic ability, they want to have her, of course, joining the Returners to defeat the Empire. And what you're gonna do, I picked up a couple items. So what you're gonna do here is they wanna make her like the special weapon in this case, and that's what you're gonna do here. The Ray of Hope, it's called. So what you basically do here is you say you can say yes or no if you wanna support the Returners, basically. And what you're gonna do here is you say no 3 times. And well, it doesn't really it doesn't do anything to the game, basically. But since I said no 3 times here, they want to convince me to still join, and they're gonna give me 1 item now. They're gonna give me the Genji glove in this cutscene. You wouldn't get that otherwise. And the Genji glove is another relic that allows you to equip 2 weapons at once, and that's really, really helpful, of course.
Yeah, so if you would say yes, you would get a relic called the Gauntlet, which lets you equip 1 weapon in 2 hands, which you might think, hey, that's just as useful, right? But unfortunately, it doesn't quite double your actual attack power with those weapons, so it's not quite as useful as the Genji glove is in that respect. Plus, if you do say yes, you get an additional cutscene, more or less, which is a bit of a time waste over just saying no 3 times, so that's why we prefer to choose the Genji glove here.
Okay, yeah, now coming up is the lead river. I'm gonna need to do a couple of things here. So we're gonna put everybody in back row. Terra gonna get rid of her sprint shoes. 7 gets sprint shoes. And Nikos Edgar gets the Genji glove here. So you're gonna equip 2 weapons at this point. Now we're gonna save the game here. And I'm gonna reset. Runs over, sorry. No, it has to do with the seat manipulation.
Exactly. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna do 1 normal reset where he just goes to the battle menu, and then he's gonna do another one which he will then load the game on. And I will also put him on a very specific seat. So I already glanced over the NPC movement value here regarding the soft block, but now we're gonna watch this guy here move to a very specific spot, and then Vultus will keep moving. So every seat again starts on step 0, and that also goes for the NPC movement value. And you want to spot a very specific NPC movement value, because coming up here this river, you will have 2 forced encounters and a start, and after that, there's 7 potential spots where you can or cannot get an encounter. And that is determined by where you are in the NPC movement value cycle. So by spotting exactly when this guy hits the wooden plank, essentially, we can just keep moving when that happens, and we know exactly where the NPC movement value is at that time, and that should give us 0 encounters on this river. Whether or we did that correct or not, we will see right now. But yeah,
I hope so.
The main thing about this is that we just want Edgar to essentially get 1 level here, which we forced by killing this Pterodon encounter we just killed, and that is pretty much for way later in the game, about 2 hours into the run, just so we have a bit more stability in that part of the game. You technically don't have to do it, but it helps a little bit. And yeah, right now we're going to be passing 7 points and hopefully not see any encounters until the boss.
Just wanted to pop in here to remind chat that Cayenne is the next character to be named, and there are no bids for it right now, so this is your chance to snipe.
Actually, we have Shadow first, but I think I forgot to mention that. Like when I submitted the run.
Yeah, we didn't have an incentive listed for Shadow, so he might just be Shadow or the quickest for you.
So what you usually do for speedrun is you short down every name, since you see the text is quite slow. And what you usually do for the speedrun is you short down every name to the first letter of the character. So Edgar's gonna be E, Terra is T, and so on. I don't know how much time it exactly saves, but usually you do that for the speedrun.
Yeah, it's quite a bit actually, because characters tend to talk a lot, but before we go back to that, we're going to jump into the Ultros boss battle, and a bit of a caveat to like how this river works as well. You have Bannon in your party now, which is pretty weak, but unfortunately, if Bannon dies, it's game over, so you gotta protect Bannon. And the good thing about the Ultros boss battle is that he will start out the battle by talking, so all your ATB bars will be full. But essentially what Vultus is going to be trying to do here is a thing called weight tricking. This is the first time where it's actually pretty essential that you do that. So the way it works is we have the ATB on weight, and whenever you perform an action like a blitz or an attack, and you go into your menus, then the ATB will stop while you're still performing that attack or certain action. So you'll see him do that quite a bit here while Aura Bolt's going or whatever. This is essentially just so that the characters can pretty much lap the boss right here with their ATB, and you can get extra attacks in from time to time. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward battle. You just use your strongest attacks, and that's pretty much it. That should do the trick if you do the weight tricking right.
Yeah. Also, the thing is, like, Ultros, like, if Ultros gets 3 turns, he's doing an AoE attack and attacks everybody in the party. And since Bannon is in front row, he immediately dies to that attack. So you have to do it. If you don't do the ADB waiting, there's a pretty high chance he gets his 3rd turn and does the AoE. So that you can avoid it by put Bannon into back row, but it should not happen. Okay, now we have split up. Like, Sabin jumped after Ultros, but he by the current he got carried away now. And now we have 3 different scenarios. We have the Sabin scenario, we have the Terra and Edgar and Bannon scenario, and the Lock scenario. And I start with the Sabin scenario here because this is the one where you can actually buy smoke bombs. And it's also the longest one. The other 2 scenarios are pretty short. Okay, well, we don't have a name for Shadow, so I just do what you do in the speedrun. This ATB weight trick is going to be really important for later in the final boss fight. If you don't do it there, you die. You just cannot finish the game.
We lost a step somewhere. You're not supposed to get this encounter. RIP.
I don't know where actually, because I barely did any steps so far.
I think you missed a tile that doesn't advance your step encounter, because you were supposed to.
Usually I have notes of this game, and I have the overworld maps next to me in the notes, but for this part I don't have that, so I don't exactly know if there are any parts here where you skip the
Actually,
steps.
I think you might have gotten 1 additional tile that you shouldn't have, which is funny. Whatever.
Okay, we have Cyan's name coming up, by the way, so I don't know if it has if there was a donation now or not.
Somebody snipe it fast. Very fast. I vote for a Moustache if nobody donates, in some fashion.
Moustache?
I don't know how you would abbreviate that, but yeah. That's what I would vote for.
Actually, that doesn't fit in the name because it's 7 letters.
I know, but, you know.
You could call him Beard.
It's gotta be Moustache. That helps, Colin. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
It's now officially Moustache unless somebody donated. Cap.
Mustache Man. Okay. I try something. I think that works.
It's just she hell. That's a good one. I like it. I like it.
Such a loyal knight, Stash. And if you're just joining us, we should probably remind everybody what we're here for.
Okay, good. Fight is over. So Cyan has black belt, good. I actually don't know if you get a Phoenix down with the seed manipulation.
It's frame-based, what you get as a drop, so I mean, you could just get unlucky, really.
We're here at Speedrun Ragnarok, benefiting Take This. Take This is a mental health nonprofit, and their main mission is to inform the gaming community about mental health issues, provide education on different disorders and prevention techniques, and reduce the overall stigma around mental illness. I will note the goal here for the marathon of $10,000 is directly related and would help Take This fund one AFK room at a convention.
Okay, for some reason the character switched around here, by the way, so I'm controlling Shadow right now. Don't know why it does that after the cutscene switch. So this is General Leo. He's another one of the generals of the Empire. He's a really honest man and an honorable fighter. So he basically is. So Kefka is really evil. He doesn't like. He wanted to poison the people of the Doma, which is where Cyan is from, and like Leo wanna just a normal takeover. But Leo is gone now. He got summoned back to the Empire headquarters, and now Kefka is in charge here, and he wanna poison the river now. Coming up, we have the infamous Templar soldier fight.
Yeah, so this fight is actually pretty much one of the main reasons you want to pick up Shadow, even though it loses you a little bit of time to ideal strategy. This fight is incredibly dangerous if you are with Sabin alone. All of these guys, if you attack them, they have a chance to counterattack even if you technically killed them. So having two characters here that don't get clobbered entirely is definitely a good thing. Additionally, Shadow, of course, double the characters, double the damage, right? So that goes by a little bit faster. Optimal strats would use Sabin with the black belt if you get it, and then just hope that you get a bunch of counterattacks and then finish the fight off reasonably quickly. But yeah, this is just way easier, really.
Okay, well now the river is poisoned, and apparently that's a really fast working poison though, because except apparently Cyan and this other guard here, everybody has drinking something already at this point, and they immediately die.
That is some crazy good poison.
Some say it's Kool-Aid, so I'm not sure. I don't know.
Either way, man, rip Cayenne. He's got to be dehydrated. Sorry, Stash. Dehydrated Stash.
He's draining his power from his mustache. So yeah, everybody is poisoned. That's the kingdom of Doma. Except Cyan and the other guard, as I said. And, well, Cyan also lives here, and he has a family. And it sounds a little bit cruel now, maybe, but I said he has a family. He had a family, unfortunately.
I'm sure they're fine.
I wonder what happened to that other Doma survivor.
That is actually a fantastic question because you never find out.
You never see this guy again.
No.
So, well, now Cyan Stash goes absolutely nuts and he invades the Imperial camp here by himself. And we're gonna find him here, battling. We're gonna help him a little bit. These are just, yeah, they're grunts, so these are really basic enemies, and Stash wasting some time here by dispatching them. You can't control him right now, he's going absolutely crazy. So these enemies die to normal attacks right away. And if Stash does his dispatch a move, he just wastes some time. As I said, you cannot control him right now. Okay, there's one battle left here. There's a different enemy in there. There's a guard or whatever. I don't know what it is. I think it's just called Axe. Oh no, Cadet. So this thing. This guy, whatever. What do we do? Which one he attacks? Oh, he attacks the wrong one. So this guard is a little stronger here. So he doesn't die to a normal attack. Okay, he calmed down a little bit now, and now we're gonna leave the Imperial camp and finally continue on. We're gonna steal some magitags. We know these things now. Well, Cyan doesn't, but yeah, he's not really technical. Oh, I can't stop now. I have no idea why you have to escape to the right side here where you came from, because technically you have to leave to the left. That's where you keep going on.
You're asking questions about a video game. You don't ask questions.
Yeah.
That leads down a dark path.
Questions with no answers.
Yeah, the fights here are pretty trivial. It's mostly about whether they get an attack or not, really, more or less. You're not in any real danger at all. So you can just kind of play around with your Magitag a little bit if you want to. Some people like to use all 3 different types of beams. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the beams are no different. So they all do the same damage and they have all the same animation base. But they're just differently colored, I think.
They have different elements, which doesn't make a difference in terms of damage on the armors, but I mean, the result will always be the same. They will die from 1 beam, so...
Just use Fire Beam because it's the first one you can select. Alright, that's the Imperial camp. Some word map movement here.
Yeah, so coming up is the big part on why actually we are choosing the seed that we have chosen. It's the Phantom Force and the Phantom Train. And this is where the game starts to become a little bit dicey because the enemies here are actually quite strong for where you are, especially if you haven't gotten a couple of levels. We are reasonably leveled at this point, but enemies start hurting a lot more if they get attacks off right now. And the main goal of the step route we're using is to minimize the amount of enemies that we get per formation here. So you can see in the first two we got a single ghost, and that will pretty much stretch as best as we can manipulate it throughout the rest of this section here. Specifically, there's one enemy on the train called the Bomb, which actually has the ability to wipe you just like that if you get unlucky, so we're trying to avoid that specific scenario.
Also, you don't have any way to heal right now, except you have a couple tonics, which is a weak potion, and I don't know, I have 2-3 potions now from the... If I got some from the guards and stuff. They dropped some. But otherwise, like, since Terra is gone, I don't have any way to heal at this point. Yes, the suplex is coming up. The incentive got met, like on the first day already of the marathon or something. Okay, so this is the Phantom Train. Well, technically, we thought, okay, we take the train, it's gonna leads us back to where we want to go right now. But, well, this is the Phantom Train, and the Phantom Train brings you to the other side. And, well, we're not dead yet, so we don't want to go there. I missed one step somewhere. At least I'm one step off, so I got an encounter right before the door.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stash is... I talked a little bit about the hidden runaway meter. Stash is one of the characters which fills that one up significantly slower than most other characters do, which is pretty unfortunate, so you want to avoid big formations with him specifically.
No escape. Yeah, the train is full of ghosts, as you see. And, well, how are we gonna stop a train? Well, we go to the front part and we confront the train.
Yes, there was an incentive here that your generous donations have allowed. I won't say any more than that.
It's probably the most liked part about this game, and it turned into a meme, kind of. Sooner gonna happening when we fight the boss.
By the way, I find it great that you detach one car with the switch right there, and then the switch just opens up like a door or whatever. It's great. I like switches like that.
Switch is multifunctional. Ooh, Shadow. What's up, man? I think I'm gonna heal him a little bit, just in case something... I have a bunch of tonics, though. So I want to have it as safe as I can, so I'm gonna have... want to have some, Shadow alive here. That's how you lose some steps.
Yeah. We made a slight detour as well to pick up a relic called the Earrings, which boost your magic damage, which you would think, why would you pick that up with this party? That doesn't make sense, but some of the blitzes Sabin uses, including Aura Bolt, are actually magic-based damage, so by equipping the Earrings we can actually increase the damage output from Aura Bolt, which is really nice.
Engineer room. Yeah, we're gonna flip these two switches here. And now we're gonna fight the train. So, pray for RNGesus that I don't get an attack called Evil Toot here, because this is always a back attack, this fight. And if the train is mad, he's gonna use Evil Toot, but he doesn't. Okay.
Here we go.
Alright, here we go. 7 is that strong though. Yes, he just suplexed the train. The entire train, with all the wagons on it.
Yeah, this train is actually pretty strong. Has an array of moves that is actually pretty threatening to you. Unfortunately for the train, it's also undead, so you can throw Phoenix down on it and it dies. But yeah.
So yeah, the train has one move that can screw you over. It's called Evil Toot. Like that, Evil Toot is it inflicts status effects, random status effects. It can be a lot of stuff like poison. It can be confusion. Confusion is pretty bad, but you can get out of that. But the worst thing that would have happened in there could be he could enrage people, and I don't have anything to stop enraged people at the moment. So if you would have Evil Toot and Enrage 7 here, there would be no way I could have slammed suplexed the train. But the train was pretty nice, it just did a basic attack, so... The best thing what can happen, or the most meme thing that can happen in this battle is you get Evil Toot, 7 gets confused, and he suplexes himself. I have no idea how this is gonna work, but this can happen.
Hey, when you're a master martial artist, you can suplex yourself if you want to, okay?
Okay, so we beat the train, he left us back here, and now we're gonna... can keep going on, and yeah, that's, as I said, it's the train to the other side, so all the people that died in Doma joined the train now. And he's leaving. Okay, it's small menuing here now. You have to wait here anyway.
Yeah. So the good thing is that you have, like Vultus said, you have to wait here anyways, and the timer keeps going while you're in the menu, so you might as well really like do a little bit of moving stuff around, setting up for selling things later on. That's why he's moving stuff in his inventory, and then once the hidden timer has run out, we can keep going with the game.
Okay, this part, Shadow leaves us. Now we only 7 and Cyan, or Stash and Slam. Slam Stash. Okay, and here we have a battle I'm gonna take to go to toilet to, as soon as it starts, and I defeated one of the enemies. So what you basically have to do is you need to wait a minute, or a little bit more than a minute, before you can actually, like, there's a boss coming up, and if you keep defeating fishes here, they're coming more and more and more. So what you're gonna do is you defeat one fish, and then you're gonna go and defend, and then you just wait a little moment, and as I said, I'm gonna take the time and go to the toilet really quick.
Could have let me explain that so he had more time, but oh well. It's too late now. and this game likes to operate with hidden timers. This is no exception to it. Like, I mean, I keep talking about like hidden here, hidden there, but this is essentially how it works. You just like can't really see it ever.
You know, though, when you're running a 6-hour game, this is pretty handy for the runner, in my opinion. It's only an hour in, but still.
Yeah, no. I especially, like, in Super Nintendo RPGs, you don't have a lot of, like, longer downtimes as compared to, like, say, PlayStation RPGs, where there's, like, actually animated cutscenes and whatnot. So it's definitely a valuable thing to have, like, something like this in the run, for sure.
Alright, I was probably a little longer than should have been.
That is okay. So the boss Piranha here, which is called Rizopos, is actually kind of a dangerous enemy because if you deal enough damage to him, then he will start using an attack called El Nino, which actually wipes your party instantly. Fortunately, our damage is set up in a way where we are ult once he gets to attack. We didn't quite push him over the damage threshold yet, and then the next 2 attacks we do will just instantly kill him. So we never run into any danger of wiping here, which is really nice. And I believe it's time for Gao's name.
Yes, it's Gao name. I think it was Ian. Sure.
Ian.
Yeah, it's Ian with
Ian.
a capital I.
So this is Gao. He's a really special character. He doesn't have a normal attack move. And we barely use him though in the speedrun. Here we go. So yeah, Gao, or Ian, he has a move called Rage instead of attacking, and what he basically does is he mimics enemy attacks. Oh wow, I'm really off this time round.
Ooh, wow, I'm Gao. Wait, what? Yeah, you are. I don't think you're supposed to get brawlers, are you?
I think I'm fine. I mean, I shouldn't be off the seat though. I should just step. Yeah, I'm good. You always get this encounter. I think so, at least. I usually always do getting this encounter.
Yeah. So the Vultus is a really special place, Vultus already mentioned, and Gao basically copies enemies, and the way it works is actually kind of interesting. So this Velt here, you can essentially fight any random encounter you have encountered before here, and you can use it in order to learn new moves with Gao. Like, he can start learning to copy new enemies, which is actually a super interesting thing to do casually. It's of course a bit involved and time intensive to get specific rages, but it's a really interesting thing. The way it works is enemies, or enemy formations rather, are categorized into like different sets of packs. There's 64 packs, and then every pack has 7 potential formations you can get. And what enemies you get is essentially, or what pack you draw from, or start out from when you enter the Veld here, is essentially based on your seed. So we have set it up in a way where you avoid getting the pack where the Templars and Soldiers are showing up that we fought earlier, because those are not only a very long battle, they're also, you cannot run from them, which, yeah, that's kind of not ideal. They are kind of in a late pack, so most seeds actually end up picking Templars and Soldiers, because the packs before and after are not filled with any enemy formations yet, so most seeds at this point in the game just default to the Templars and Soldiers. So we just kind of specifically went out of our way to avoid that specific scenario. Now what we have to do here is we essentially have to recruit Gao, and on the Velds, after you defeat an enemy in a normal formation, or most formations really, you can find Gao afterwards at a reasonably high chance which we got first try here, which is very nice. And for the first time, we have to feed him dried meat, which you have to buy in Mobilis. And afterwards, he will join your party. And then if you want to learn new stuff with Gao, which is this tutorial is going to be going on all about that, since he's now in your party, you can leap into a formation to learn that specific one, and then you have to find him reappearing again. The biggest problem is there is certain enemy formations that you can defeat here, whereas the specific enemy slot is occupied where Gao would normally show up, so he can't show up in those. There's very few of those, but those exist. And then he can't show up if one of your party members is dead. He can't show up if it's a back attack, a side attack, yeah, that can actually be quite annoying, because if you don't get him first try and you have to keep trying to defeat formations, eventually you will loop around to Templars and Soldiers. So yeah, it's a very low chance of that actually happening, but that would be quite annoying, especially in a speedrun setting. So fortunately though, we got pretty lucky here.
Yeah, first, I think in my PB I had like 5 battles or something. It was still not a Templar and Soldier encounter. Like, I think you're at the start of the encounter table that Magus mentioned. And I think you can get like 8, 9 encounter here before you actually get the Templar fight with the seed. That's quite generous, but it's still annoying if you don't get a Gao right away, because like, you don't have to be here any longer, so you're just gonna leave and go to the Serpent Trench and go finally back to meet the others again. And well, if you don't get Gao, you have to just run around here on the Veld, which first thing, it increases your steps all the time, and second thing is it just wastes time. So. Oh yeah, also this little guy here is called Kappa.
It's your boy Kappa.
So that was the tutorial about Gao's Rage command.
Yep.
Sweet.
This next part is actually also quite dangerous, so I'm hoping you saved before it. I mean, it shouldn't really go wrong, but you know, we're going to be going to a place, as Vultus said, that is called the Serpent Trench, and you will actually be forced into encounters there. And there's one specific one at the very start that could get quite dicey if we get unlucky, but it's essentially a 50-50 to even get that, so we'll just hope we avoid it entirely.
So here, the Serpent Trench is just an underwater road, basically, that leads back to a town called Nikea or something, that is close to Narj. And yeah, there are 4 encounters you get on the Serpent Trench, and the eel type encounter can do, I don't know if it's called Aqua Rake in this game as well, but you probably know that move, and that's the one you don't want to see.
Yeah, it will kill you.
So as I said, you get 4 encounter here and you run away all of them, because there's no reason to fight. If you don't get pincered, which hopefully doesn't happen.
Yeah, so you can still get like preemptive pincers and all that, even though these are forced encounters and it's frame based again, so it depends on what frame you enter this, but there's no way to really realistically manipulate that, unfortunately. So we just kind of have to cross our fingers and then hope that it works out in our favor.
And as Magus said, Science runaway meter is really slow, so... There's also another enemy here, which is not as dangerous, but annoying as hell, because there's this jellyfish encounter that can stop you. And stop is really stupid, because stop just stops the character and you can't run away to fight with this character. Okay, he doesn't do it.
Yeah, so the enemy here called Anguiform is the one that can use Aqua Rake, but it's a special condition he has to meet, and that is for him to be alone in the battle, which the first battle has a chance to give you just the Anguiform, and if you get unlucky you can get hit by Aqua Rake, but as long as there's other enemies in the formation, you're safe.
You have these choices here to go left and right. I actually have no idea how big of a difference it is to go here differently, but what you basically do is you go right at the first time, then you go left at the second time. I think if you wouldn't do that, you would just get more encounter, but I'm not exactly sure. Okay, one more, that'd be good. And I want to have Cyan Stash alive because I need to unequip his running sprint shoes from him. Because you know we have split up parties, and I only have 2 sets of sprint shoes, and we have 3 parties. So if I couldn't unequip the one here from Cyan, the sprint shoes, we would have 1 party without sprint shoes in the end. So first thing you're gonna do here is you buy the Magus head, and you're gonna get around 40 smoke bombs. Okay, there we go. Exactly 40 in this case.
Yeah, so this is the big reason that we do this scenario first. Again, smoke bombs, I mentioned them earlier, they let you immediately run away from battle, which is amazing. You can just get away from a battle just like that. So, and this is the scenario where you can buy them for the first time in the game, so that's why we do this one first. There is some, like, you could potentially do other scenarios first for accessories and whatnot, but then you'd run into a lot of trouble trying to run away from battle. So, and since we have shared inventory throughout all these scenarios, it's kind of nice to just get those smoke bombs first and then do the other scenarios afterwards.
Okay, so in Glitchless you keep going with the Terra scenario first, because, well, maybe you know the speedrun of this game. Okay, first thing is I'm gonna use smoke bombs here, and I'm gonna put them to first slot in my inventory, so whoever is gonna be first uses the smoke bombs. Okay, so yeah, Terra scenario first, because we wanna get some relics here from Edgar away, and we're gonna give them lock. And only 1 encounter on the river here, that's pretty sweet. Okay, and sprint shoes.
Yeah, the second part of the river here actually works like the first one. You have a forced encounter, and then you have 2 50-50s depending on what value you're on. But you have little to no control over if you just keep going, whether you actually get those encounters or not. But there is there is ways to do it, but it's mostly not worth it.
It's not viable, unfortunately, in Glitchless, because, as I said, to manipulate that you need to do the lock scenario first, and you're not gonna do lock scenario first because, as I said, I just unequipped Edgar. I needed the Genji gloves. I give them lock soon because, as I said, you maybe know the speedrun of this, and like, at least you know the non-glitchless speedrun maybe. And as you maybe know, you can skip lock scenario kind of right at the start and clip through a soldier in the town. Yeah, in Glitchless this is not allowed because it's considered a glitch. So we full-fledged do the lock scenario, and because we do this, we want to make him as strong as we can, and for that we're gonna take the Genji gloves, and that's why we do the Terra scenario first. Also, as I said, these 2 scenarios are way shorter now than the 7th scenario, which was really long. So this one is nearly over already at this point. You just go back to the house in Narsh. We woke up at the very beginning of the run.